Hey guys, Aaron here with Atlas Menswear, and I wanted to make this video today because I recently saw an episode of the podcast called Trigernometry. It was on YouTube, and they had a guest on named Dimitry Toukhcher. If you're not familiar with him, he's the owner, founder, CEO of a company called LGFG, and what they do is they make custom, high-end, tailored suits for people like movie stars, other celebrities, entrepreneurs and things like that. They did the suits for the movie Skyscraper, which starred The Rock, and they made that suit for Jordan Peterson, if you're familiar with him, the ones that have one half that look like one thing, one half that look like the other, and it's symbolic of certain things. If you haven't seen those, you should check them out. They're really cool looking suits. Trigernometry had him on to discuss how fashion relates to current events, politics, economics, and what fashion says about each individual also. And I thought it was really interesting. Myself being the owner and founder of Atlas Menswear, another fashion company, I just thought the conversation was really interesting and kind of affirmed some of the things that I've said. I find it interesting that Dimitry and I agree on a lot of things, especially as it relates to fashion and current societal things, and especially how it relates to the individual. He also speaks of bespoke fashion. Bespoke essentially just means custom clothing for a person. Now, his company is 100% custom. They will go out and measure each person that they're going to make a suit for. I believe they only do men's suits. Atlas is kind of a quasi-bespoke fashion company. We don't go out and measure each individual person. However, I've told this story before. In the founding of Atlas Menswear, we did, me and my fashion designer, Jessica, we did go to gyms and measure guys while they were working out, while they were in between sets, taking a rest. I would walk up to them and strangely ask if I could measure them. I would measure their shoulders, their lats, and I'd give them a protein shake or something like that as a token of my appreciation. So we're not 100% bespoke. We're not 100% custom for each individual, but we are 100% custom for the niche that we are in, which is the muscular man. That's what we do. We do one thing, and we do it better than anyone else. Now, one of the things I like about Dimitry is we do have some things in common. In the beginning of the podcast, he talks about his struggles during COVID, and he said it took a lot away from him. It hurt his business really bad, and I really related to that. I've talked about this before. The founding of Atlas Menswear, I actually founded the company in March of 2020. That's when we launched. We were set to launch at the Arnold Sports and Fitness Expo in Columbus, Ohio, on March, I believe it was March 3rd, if my memory serves me correctly. And we had a booth there. We were all set, and I had so much momentum going towards me. I'd worked for probably 2 years from concept to launch to get this company going and to present it to my customers. Without going too much into it, the day before the Arnold was supposed to kick off, they canceled it, and that's when everything in the world started shutting down. So it was like the rug was just completely taken out from under me, like being punched in the gut from my experience in martial arts when I was younger. I know what that feels like, and it was a very similar experience to being punched in the gut. It was just a really hard time for me. But like Dimitry says, you have to be tougher than the adversity that's in front of you. So I took the cards that I was dealt. I walked around Columbus. I knew a lot of the people were already there in Columbus for the Arnold. So I walked around that area. I started meeting people. I just walked up and shook people's hands, and I made a lot of good contacts. Actually met some professional bodybuilders that ended up being some models for me. And I turned a bad situation into the best possible situation that I could. There's no way I was going to just give up, tuck my tail in, and come back home empty-handed. So Dimitry has a similar story, and I really related to that, and I really like that. Now, on the podcast, when they start getting into more specifics about clothing and what they say about the person, they give the example of, now, let me back up a little bit. There's a lot on this podcast, not just this episode, but the Trigernometry as a whole. It is a political podcast, and they do talk about current political issues. So I personally, on this channel for my company, I try not to get too much into politics, but there is a lot of that in the podcast of what they talked to Dimitry about. So he gave the example of Joe Biden, and I'll play a clip for you right here to let you know what I'm talking about.
24 election, okay? And then Biden walks out, and I said, this is wrong. Number one, Biden went a shade darker on his suits. That was an intentional decision. There's no way somebody dressing Biden would miss that. But when you're old, and everybody questions your mental capacity and thinks you're about to die, what you don't want to do is you don't want to wear a black suit. Because what does black psychologically trigger in us? The idea of a funeral, the idea of death. And he went a tone darker. So he's wearing a very dark navy blue suit. I go, that is not the color you put an 80-year-old guy in who might have dementia.
So I do agree that if you're old and decrepit and you're on a political stage, you probably shouldn't be wearing black. Personally, I do like black as a color. Black is one of my favorite colors. And you'll notice that if you see me out and around, I'll be wearing my black Atlas Menswear shirt a lot. However, if you are in a political arena and you're giving a political speech, and that is some of the things that you're up against, you probably shouldn't wear black. What the bigger message, though, is what your clothing says about you. And it just shows that even subtle differences in your clothing can project a completely different image of yourself to other people. And you wear one thing, wear it a certain way, and you project one image, and you wear a different thing, wear it a different way, and you can project a completely different image. When I started Atlas Menswear, I was very aware of that because I was frustrated with wearing baggy clothes that didn't fit my body. And I'm not the biggest guy, but I had the broad shoulders and a narrow waist. And if you just go to a store and get something off the rack, you're not going to find anything that fits well, and you're not going to be happy. So my personality reflected that, and at least I felt the way people looked at me wearing a baggy, ill-fitting clothing. I just didn't have quite the level of confidence that I wanted when I wear the clothing that I have from Atlas Menswear. I really doubt any of my customers are going to be mistaken for someone who has one foot in the grave. Now, the next question they ask is, how does your fashion reflect the people you design for? Dimitry goes into a long answer, so I can't really play you the whole clip. What I can do is tell you my own personal experience, why I started Atlas Menswear. What does my fashion say about my customer, or what does my customer say about my fashion, vice versa. The reason I started Atlas Menswear is to give athletic and muscular men a custom tailored shirt that fits their physique. My main goal was to fit that body type, fit one body type, and fit it well. And Dimitry also goes into, part of his story is you have to know what your customer stands for. I'll play this clip to kind of set this up, and then I'll talk a little bit more about it.
That might be the more base question. Like, what does she really stand for? Like, I can't really answer that. So how do I design an image for somebody who I don't even know what their ethos is?
Now, Dimitri's talking about Kamala Harris and that he doesn't know what she stands for. Regardless of your politics, maybe you do know what she stands for. He doesn't. Regardless of all that, personally, I know what my customer stands for. And I know that because I am one of my customers. We go to the gym, we work out, we take care of ourselves, we care about the image that we project to other people. We're not lazy. We're disciplined. We value and understand the meaning of hard work. We're not afraid to put ourselves through adversity. Going to the gym is not an easy thing. You could easily just stay home and stay on the couch and eat chips and watch TV, but we don't do that. We push ourselves. We go to the gym, and we also push ourselves every other place too. The saying, you can't outwork a bad diet. We understand what it takes to get enough protein for the day, get your right amount of carbs, your fats, etc. So all that takes the discipline. And me and the rest of my customers, we understand that, and we don't accept anything when we understand that we deserve more. Now, Dimitry talks a little bit about how clothing speaks to the spirit too. Let me play this clip real quick, and I'll talk more about it.
The institutions, paying homage to the institutions built before you. So to me, the suit is not only a respect factor, it's also evoking the spirit. Like, I'm showing respect to people that came before me, that built things that I'm completely incapable of building, which are great things, these things that operate around us in society that are amazing.
Now, in my world, the world of athletic and muscular men, when you wear an Atlas Menswear shirt, you're paying homage to all the men that struggle every day in the gym to build a better body for themselves. You're not only paying homage to them, you're paying homage to yourself too, because you are one of those people. You're going to the gym, you're doing the things that you need to do. You're not taking the easy way out, and you should be able to project that image when you wear a nice shirt. It shows that you're someone to be respected because you have the due respect for yourself. Now, further into the podcast, they start talking about some other things, and Dimitry tells a story about when he was young with his dad, and when his dad would meet with other men that were wearing suits, and the message that conveyed to him. Here's the clip.
And my dad, he's an RV technician, like a mechanic at the time. He would take me to school in his 1989 Corolla or Camry, which was, he was getting ready for his overalls. But there was a private school, so all the other kids were being dropped off, with their dads driving a black BMW wearing a suit. And I was like, wow, I want to wear a suit. I don't know why, but it made me feel like those men were important. Yeah. That's what it is, right?
It is, because when I was a kid, I loved wearing suits. And why is that? It's because you know that what you wear communicates something about you. And if you want to project a sense of power or authority or status, there is nothing that does that better for a man than a well-cut suit.
Now, this story that Dimitry told kind of goes to the heart of some of the marketing that I've done for Atlas Menswear. If you see some of my Instagram posts, I frequently put the line, let them know who they're dealing with before you even say a word. And when you walk into a room wearing an Atlas Menswear shirt, or rather, when you walk into a room wearing your baggy gym clothes, a sweatshirt, a long t-shirt, or a baggy dress shirt that doesn't look like it was made for a body of your type, you're conveying that message to everyone in that room, and they're going to make a judgment based on how you look. If you take the time and have the respect for yourself to put on something that is actually made for your body type, when you walk into a room, people are going to notice that. They're going to notice that you have the respect for yourself, and then they're more likely to respect you, or at least have the potential to respect you, rather than if you walk in looking like trash. It's going to be hard to respect somebody that really doesn't convey visually that they have the respect for themselves. Throughout this podcast, they talk with Dimitry about the military aspect of well-fitting clothing. I myself am a veteran. I was in the Air Force, and the philosophy about the uniform and having everything well manicured is it kind of goes back to the saying, how you do anything is how you do everything. Now it's striving for perfection in everything you do and paying attention to all the details. I can remember in the Air Force sitting for hours, especially in boot camp, trimming all the tiny little strings off the uniform and using a lighter to burn the little frayed ends of threads that might be on the buttons. Those details, those things are foundational. If you want to be perfect in everything you do, you have to have the foundational details down first. If you move on to something bigger without having the foundation built, just like in the gym, if you try to squat 300 pounds without being able to squat 135, everything is going to fall apart, literally. Now, if you pay attention to the details, then you can move on to some higher level things. That's kind of the philosophy of how it works in the military and what they try to teach you. And at Atlas Menswear, we try to help muscular guys get those foundational things down with the right fitting clothing and having the details down before you can move on to something else. Now, those are just some tiny clips of it was about a 1 hour podcast episode. I really recommend you check it out. It's Trigernometry. Check out Dimitry, his company too. You know, there's a fine line between being a competitor and being a partner. Technically, Dimitry and I aren't either. I've never met him. I've never talked to him. I've just seen him online and talk about some things that really interest me. I would love to meet him sometime, but I don't mind talking about him, even though we're in somewhat the same space. We're in some ways competitors, but we're also partners. You know, a rising tide raises all ships. So I don't mind talking about his company because I respect what he does. He has a great company. Some of the things he does are amazing. Some of the suits on his Instagram are incredible. So check it out. And that's it for the video today. I just wanted to get on and talk about that real quick. And let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with anything. And let me know if you watched the whole episode, some of the things that you liked about it. And send me questions about Atlas Menswear if you need sizing help. And I appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next video.